Please be seated. Welcome, and thank you for coming to the 44th Annual Honors Convocation for the University of South Alabama College of Medicine. We will begin the program with a welcome provided by Dr. John Marymont, Vice President for Medical Affairs and Dean of the College of Medicine.
Welcome, graduating medical students, families, and distinguished faculty. Tonight we gather to celebrate our medical students' accomplishments during the past 4 years and to congratulate them for their hard work and dedication. For our graduating medical students, in reality, This is the beginning of a long journey rather than an end to one. Briefly, I would like to focus on your future. Tomorrow, you will transition from a student to a physician. You will join a group of accomplished and respected physicians who have dedicated themselves to the care of others. It will be your responsibility to live up to these high ideals set by those who graduated ahead of you and to help raise the bar for those who will follow you. As newly graduated physicians, you will soon enter into your residencies. I ask that always give your patients your very best, drawing from both the foundation of knowledge you received here and the wisdom shared with you by our outstanding faculty. During your residencies and your practice, you will need to remember that as physicians, we have the responsibility of leading the team of caring healthcare professionals and ancillary personnel. Give these team members both your leadership and your respect. Each has knowledge and experiences that are unique. As physicians, we value their contributions and the opportunity to continue to learn through our interactions with them. Throughout your medical career, remain focused on the reasons you chose to become a physician. Always put your patients first and empower them to collaborate with you as an advocate for health and well-being. Finally, I would ask you to remain connected with your medical school through the Medical Alumni Association. You will always be a Jaguar and welcome part of the University of South Alabama. We take great pride in your accomplishments and wish you continued success. Thank you.
Dr. John Todd, President of the USA Medical Alumni Association and Class of 1988, will now provide the alumni welcome.
Graduates of the class of 2019, proud parents and families, honored guests and friends and fellow alumni, esteemed faculty. My name is John Todd, and I am a proud 1988 graduate of the College of Medicine. I currently serve as the president of the Medical Alumni Association. It's with great pleasure that I congratulate you on your accomplishments and welcome you as new members of our association. You're joining a very proud, loyal, and distinguished group of alumni, individuals making profound impacts across the study and practice of medicine in all corners of the nation and throughout the world. One of the primary missions of the Medical Alumni Association is to help you stay connected with your fellow graduates and with the College of Medicine as you move on to your next stage of training and into practice. We also serve the College of Medicine through activities that support the professional advancement of our alumni membership, as well as activities that enhance your experience of medical students. I suspect most of you are familiar with some of these activities, including sponsorship of match day and the white coat ceremonies, as well as hosting career exploration events with students. In addition, the association has contributed over $178,000 in just the past 4 years in scholarship funding for College of Medicine students. Before yielding the podium for much more important activities, I ask you to consider 2 simple tasks that I would like you to perform in the next several months. First, display your diploma with pride. Get it framed and hang it on a wall somewhere. Make sure your friends and family know where you graduated from medical school. That's a very expensive piece of parchment. Second, when you receive that card or letter from your alumni association, please don't throw it away. Fill it out and join your medical association. The dues are nominal, and the return on your investment is for a lifetime. Once again, congratulations on your remarkable achievement, and welcome to our alumni family.
Each year, at the final class meeting, the seniors elect the faculty member who they would like to provide the address to the class. This year, the class of 2019 selected me. I'm extremely honored to be able to be chosen to address the class of 2019. In planning what I was going to say, I thought about the convocation addresses that I have listened to over the past 30-plus years, and I cannot remember a female being up here giving this address. So thank y'all for choosing me. I also can't remember the details of any of the convocation speeches. But I can remember that some of the speeches were very eloquent, and I had to go home and look up the words because I had no idea what they meant. And I can remember some of them being very long, and I kept looking at my watch and saying, when is this going to be over? I can promise you my speech will be short, and you won't have to go home and look up any of the words. So let's start with a short walk down memory lane, back to when we first met at freshman orientation. And I talked to you about the path of becoming a competent physician. And I used that analogy of that mountain path, that mountain trail. And I talked about some of the obstacles that you were going to have to overcome. And many of those were multiple choice tests. They were biweekly tests. And then they were mini boards. And then it was step 1. And then it was step 2CK. And then there were also OSCEs. And it was step 2 CS. But you made it past all those obstacles. And tomorrow morning, you will be awarded the MD degree, and for the rest of your life, you will be referred to as doctor. I am so incredibly proud of each and every one of you, and I congratulate you on your accomplishments. Over the past 4 years, I've had many opportunities to provide tips on how to be successful in medical school. Some of them were in mandatory class meetings when you may or may not have listened, and other times were when you came into my office and you were actually seeking advice. And we talked about how to attack a multiple choice question. We talked about how to study for your anatomy practicals. We talked about how to recognize a thyroglossal duct cyst. But tonight I want to give you some tips on things that I will think will help you in your residency and throughout life. The first bit of advice that I have for you is simply be kind. For some of you, it comes naturally. For others, you kind of have to work at it. But I promise you, it's worth the effort. First of all, you'll need to be kind to your patients, because you have to remember they're coming to see you not because you're warm and glowing personalities, but because they're in pain, or something's not functioning the way that it should, or they've been in an accident, and they are entrusting you with their health. They're not entrusting the machines. They're not entrusting the diagnostic test. They are entrusting you as a person. And one of the best ways to build that trust is through kindness. You'll also want to be kind to your colleagues. Over the past 4 years, you've heard many times that healthcare is not an individual sport, it's a team sport. And you're going to need the support of your team. The best way to garner that support is by being kind. You'll also want to be kind to your family. You're going to have some really hard days. You're going to be tired. You're going to be in a foul mood. But when you go home, don't take that frustration out on your family. They didn't do it. So you need to be kind to them. Many of you are already married, and others of you have found your significant others. If you're lucky, and this is coming from someone that will celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary in just a couple of months, if you're lucky, they'll be there with you for your life journey. And just as a secret, in order to make a long-term relationship last, kindness is one of those things that has to be in the center of it. And finally, and probably the hardest of all, you need to be kind to yourself. You are all overachievers or you wouldn't be here. You strive for perfection, but you're also human beings, and you won't be perfect. You will make mistakes. We all do. When you make a mistake, own it. Learn from it. Move on. And don't beat yourself up over it. The next piece of advice I have for you is something that you've already heard from others. You've heard it from your parents. You've heard it from your teachers. You've heard it from your coaches. And just a few minutes ago, you heard it from Dr. Marymont. And that is to always do your best. It's obvious why you want to do your best for your patients, because you want the best outcome. It's obvious why you want to do the best for your team, because you don't want anybody else to carry your load. And the same thing goes for your family. But I promise you, if you do your best in all of these venues, the person that's going to benefit from that most is you. Because there's another piece of advice that goes along with that, and that is always do what's right. You all have very strong moral compasses. Don't ever lose that. Because when the storm clouds come, and they will, whether it's a patient or a colleague or a family member, if you know that you have done your best and that you have done what's right, then when that grief and that guilt comes, you can combat it. And at night when you get ready to go to bed, you put your head down on your pillow and you go to sleep because you have a clear conscience, knowing that you did the very best that you could do. The next piece of advice I have for you is to learn something new every day. Like many of you, my mother was a very strong influence in my life. And the last couple of years of her life, she had had a stroke and she was homebound. She lived in Sulphur, Louisiana. I lived in Mobile, Alabama, and I talked to her on the phone every night. More often than not, she would start out with, "So what did you learn today?" Because my mother was a teacher. And I would tell her whatever I had learned. Sometimes it was really trivial. It didn't matter, because whenever I finished, she would always say, "Good, you learned something new today. That means you're not dead." If you look back over the last 4 years and you think about all the factual knowledge that you have gained since that first day at FHH1, it's remarkable. As you move forward on your path, you're going to be having more experiential learning. You're going to learn from every patient that you encounter. You listen to their stories. You'll see different presentations of disease, but you'll learn more and more from these experiential experiences. And when you couple that with the reading that you're going to do every day, because Dr. Crook told you to read something every day, your medical knowledge is going to continue to grow. But you're also going to learn from life lessons. And some of those life lessons will be good, and some not so good. But you have to remember that those life lessons happen for you. They don't happen to you. So you learn from those life lessons and you grow. Because quite often when you look back, the reason it happens to you is because you're going to be able to help somebody else when that happens to them. And the last piece of advice I have for you is to find joy in your life. Your tendency is to be so focused on your work and career that you don't do those things that bring you joy. Many of you put off enjoying life because you needed to make it through medical school. And those same ones of you will think, "I can't do that when I'm a resident because I've got to make it through residency." And then you'll go into a fellowship and it's like, "I've got to focus on my fellowship and I don't have time to do those things that bring me joy." And then you'll be done with that and you'll be out in your practice and you'll be so busy that you don't think about that because you're still focusing on your career and on your work. But life is not a checklist. It's not medical school, check. Residency, check. Fellowship, check. Marriage, check. Children, check. Life is to be enjoyed. It's a journey. And if we go back to that analogy of that mountain trail, if you are always focused on that path right in front of you, and you don't ever take the time to stop and look at the views around you and turn around and look at where you've been, you're going to miss so much joy in life. So take the time to find joy in your life. In conclusion, I'm so incredibly grateful that I had the opportunity to play a part in your journey. It's been remarkable to watch you as you've matured over the last 4 years. When you came in, you were students focused on how did I do on that test. And then in the third year, a metamorphosis occurs, and you change into those student physicians that are concerned about how can I give my patient the very best care. Again, congratulations on your achievements, and I wish you the very best, and I'm so incredibly proud of all of you. Thank you. At that same class meeting, this group of seniors selected the student who will provide the response to the class. This year, the response will be provided by John David Ravita, Jr.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome and thank everyone for joining us tonight for the convocation ceremony for the class of 2019. Before I go on, I would like to add a special thank you to everyone who helped coordinate this event. We are all extremely grateful for the time and the energy that y'all all put in to ensure that tonight ran as smoothly as possible. When I asked a number of people whose advice that I truly value what I should speak about tonight, two themes were very consistent in their responses. First, make sure that your speech is short, and second, make sure you thank enough people. So hopefully I'll accomplish both of those goals tonight. To begin, I would like to congratulate all of my fellow classmates. The events of this weekend serve as not only a celebration of all that we have accomplished over the last 4 years, but also a reminder of how far we still have to ascend the medical education mountain that Dr. Ledoux showed us that first week 4 years ago and reminded us of just now. Our role over the last 4 years has been as a student doctor, and after this weekend, we dropped the title student, but in name only. This event serves as an acknowledgement that we have completed the quote-unquote school portion of the medical education journey, but we still have a lifetime of learning ahead of us. We should all be very proud of the successes we've made over the last 4 years that have led each one of us to this point. But at least speaking for myself, I know that what we have accomplished could not be done alone. Personally, I know that I owe a tremendous amount of gratitude to my wife, Abby, who has supported me over these 4 years during the long hours in the library, the longer hours in the hospital, and the longest hours while I was gone on my away rotations. And to my son George, who could not join us tonight because he's reached an age where being still is no longer a part of his life. I want to thank my mom, my wife's parents, and the rest of all of our families, not only for all that they have done for me and my family over these 4 years, but for all the assistance and the advice that they gave in the years before that continues to guide me today. Next, I want to thank all of my classmates. I came to South because it felt like a family, and you all have become my family over these last 4 years, and I know that each one of us would not be here without the support of one another. Next, I want to thank the family and the friends of each of my classmates, because no one here could have reached this point without the strong support of family and friends to lean on. And lastly, I want to thank all of the faculty and staff at South. I truly do not think that there are enough words to thank each one of you. Whenever I reflect on what South has meant to me over these 4 years, I always seem to come back to what Dr. Scammell told us at our orientation, that your success is our success. I've given him credit for this quote many times, and I truly believe that this is the motto that each member of our faculty and staff lives by. I've never met a group of people who devote more of their time, energy, and heart into teaching at both the basic science and clinical levels, and I know that each one of us has the faculty and staff to thank for all of our success. As I stand here today, I think back to 2 years ago when I had the opportunity to address all of you at another transition in our medical education, at our white coat ceremony. Over these past 2 years, we've left the classroom behind in order to work alongside residents, attendings, and other students to learn and experience the many different fields of patient care. We've had the opportunity to interact and treat patients who have an array of needs and come from a variety of backgrounds. We've continued to study, to learn, and to take tests. But most importantly, we've been given the opportunity to see the positive impact we can make on the lives of others. Much of the last 4 years has been all about numbers. Numbers of hours studying, numbers of hours at the hospital, scores, grades, programs applied to, interviews received, rankings, spreadsheets, the list goes on and on. We've defined much of what we've accomplished over these last 4 years by numbers. As we move on to residency, I challenge each one of you to throw out the numbers and choose to measure your success on a different and much more important scale: lives. In this next stage, our patients will become our new teachers, and every patient you see is an opportunity to impact a life in a positive way. This could be a life that you help deliver into the world, a life that grows and unfolds before your eyes as they come to visit you for colds, coughs, shots, and school physicals, a life that's in critical condition that requires your urgent care, or a life that you become a part of as you navigate their long-term care. But in addition to all of these lives, there will also be the lives that are lost along the way. These are the lives that will often teach us the most about what it truly means to be a physician and remind us why we started this journey 4 years ago. How we choose to measure our success moving forward will shape the type of doctor that we become. And at the end of the day, numbers are simply numbers, but each individual life that you care for will stand out amongst them all. Great doctors will measure their success by the lives and the families that they have cared for and impacted, not by any other number. Thank you.
We will now move to the presentation of awards. The first award to be given is the Dean's Award, and it will be presented by Dr. John Marymont.
The Dean's Award. The Dean's Award is given to the graduating senior who has accumulated the highest scholastic grade point average for the full 4 years of medical school. This year's recipient is Trevor Chalk Stevens.
Okay, students, you have a program in your hands. If you're going to receive an award, would you come line up so that Karen can get you ready? The next award to be presented is the Merck Award, and it will be presented by Dr. Mary Townsley, Senior Associate Dean.
One to present the Merck Award. This award is given to graduating senior students who have demonstrated superior academic achievement. This year's recipients are Brian David Streffen,
The next awardee
the Merck Award is Emily Morgan Smith.
The
The next award to be presented is the Glasgow Rubin Achievement Citation, and they will be presented by Dr. Kelly Rovita, Assistant Dean for Student Affairs.
The Glasgow Rubin Achievement Citation is presented to those women students who graduated in the top 10% of their class. This year's recipients are Christina Aaron Morris, Emily Morgan Smith, and Casey Amber Stout.
The next award to be presented is the Dr. Robert A. Kreisberg Endowed Award of Excellence. It will be presented by Dr. Geraldine Crook, Abraham
A. Mitchell Chair and Professor in the Department of Internal Medicine.
This award, in honor of the founding chair of medicine at the University of South Alabama College of Medicine, is presented to a graduating senior student in the top 25% of the class who is distinguished in both the clinical and basic sciences. The student has demonstrated superior leadership and integrity, possesses a strong work ethic, and has performed in such a way as to earn the respect of his or her fellow students and faculty. This year's recipient is Mr. Trevor Chalk Stevens.
The next award is the Leonardtown Humanism in Medicine Award, and it is presented by Dr. T.J. Hunley, Assistant Dean for Medical Education and Student Affairs and Associate Professor in the Department of Internal Medicine.
The Leonard Tao Humanism in Medicine Award is an award presented by the Arnold P. Gold Foundation to the senior student and to the faculty member nominated and selected by the senior class who have demonstrated outstanding compassion to patients and their families. This year's student recipient is Trevor Chalk Stevens. And this year's faculty recipient is Dr. Spencer Lyles.
The next award to be presented is the Medical Alumni Leadership Award, and it will be presented by Dr. John Todd.
This award is presented to the senior student by vote of classmates in recognition of outstanding leadership of the graduating class. This year's recipient is John David Rovita, Jr.
The next award is the Pro Assurance Award. It will be presented by Dr. Benjamin Estrada, Assistant Dean for Medical Education, Professor and Vice Chair in the Department of Pediatrics.
The Pro Assurance Award is presented to a senior medical student who plans to remain in Alabama for residency and who excels in patient communication. This year's recipient is Audrey Marie Murphy.
The Community Service Award is our next award, and it will be presented by Dr. Kelly Ravita.
This award is presented by the Medical Society of Mobile County to 2 senior medical students whose classmates believe best fulfill the ideals of humanitarian public service as demonstrated by superior awareness of and achievement in civic and community programs. This year's recipients are Natalie Brooks Carlisle, and William Charles Gambler.
The next award to be presented is the SNMA Leadership Award, and it will be presented by Dr. Franklin Trim, Assistant Vice President for Medical Affairs, Office of Diversity and Inclusion.
The Student National Medical Association is committed to supporting current and future underrepresented minority medical students, addressing the needs of underserved communities, and increasing the number of clinically excellent, culturally competent, and socially conscious physicians. The Leadership Award is given by the Student National Medical Association and is awarded to the graduating senior who has demonstrated outstanding community, school, and organizational service and leadership qualities. This year's recipient is Hilda Watkins.
The next award is the Adele Mantiply and Dr. Gerald Galley Pediatric Endowed Scholarship, and it will be presented by Dr. Benjamin Estrada.
The Adele Mantiply and Dr. Gerald Galley Pediatric Endowed Scholarship is awarded to a graduating senior student who has accepted a position in a pediatric residency program and intends to practice pediatrics in Mobile and/or Baldwin counties. This year's recipient is Perrin Van Windham.
The next award is the Retha Baliga Memorial Medical Scholarship. It is presented by Dr. David Grims, Chair of the Department of Pediatrics.
The Retha Baliga Memorial Medical Scholarship is awarded to an outstanding student who demonstrates a merit ranking within the top 25% of the class, preferably interested in pursuing a career in pediatric health care. This year's recipient is Lydia Leah Standy.
The next award is the Dr. Richard William Gurrick Memorial Endowed Scholarship, and it's presented by Dr. Sabrina Bassett, Assistant Professor in the Department of Internal Medicine.
Good evening. It is my privilege to present the Dr. Richard William Gurrick Memorial Endowed Scholarship. This scholarship is awarded to a graduating senior student who has not only performed at the highest level during the 3rd and 4th years, but has also demonstrated efficacy in patient relations and professionalism. This year's recipient is Christina Aaron Arts.
The next two scholarships will be presented by Dr. T.J. Hunley. The first is the Dr. William James Atkinson Jr. Memorial Endowed Scholarship.
The Dr. William James Atkinson Jr. Memorial Endowed Scholarship is presented to the graduating medical student exhibiting exemplary character, possessing a dedication to the field of medicine, and demonstrating a commitment to compassionate patient care. The student is also interested in primary care and plans to practice in the state of Alabama. This year's recipient is Sana Ozair. The next award is the Dr. Joseph G. Harden Jr. Memorial Scholarship. This scholarship is awarded to the graduating senior student who's interested in pursuing a career in internal medicine. This year's recipient is Matthew James Robson.
The next award is the John A. Desick Award. It's presented by Dr. Mariella Sermon, a graduate of the class of 1978.
My sincere congratulations to each of you and my best wishes on your future. 41 years ago, I sat where you are today. This award is presented to the woman with the highest rank in the class who is pursuing a career in internal medicine. It is created in honor of my father, who helped my dreams come true. It is a cash award, and the name of the recipient will be added to a plaque in the college building. The recipient this year is Casey Amber Stoughton.
The next award is the Dr. Stephen Carl Teplet Memorial Award. This award is presented to a graduating senior student specializing in radiology and committed to the lifelong learning as exemplified by Dr. Stephen Teplet. This year's recipient is Seth Kendall Hill. The next award is the Outstanding Student in the Pre-Clerkship Curriculum. It's presented by Dr. Anthony Gard, Assistant Dean for Curriculum and Assessment and Professor in the Division of Medical Education.
This accolade is awarded to a graduating senior student for outstanding performance in the pre-clerkship curriculum. This year's recipient is John David Rovita, Jr.
The next award is for excellence in teaching clinical skills. This award is presented to the graduating senior student for outstanding teaching skills and student mentoring in the clinical skills program. This student has demonstrated a dedication to education in the field of clinical skills, and this year's recipient is Ashley Mae Tomkovich. The next award is the Clinical Pharmacology and Therapeutics Excellence Award. It's presented by Dr. Abu Ahmedi, professor in the Department of Pharmacology.
This award is presented to the senior graduating student who demonstrated outstanding knowledge in both clinical and basic pharmacology. So if you are looking for the best prescription, including for justified fentanyl, look for no one else other than Trevor Stevens.
The next award is the Hollis J. Wiseman Award for Excellence in Pediatrics, and it's presented by Dr. David Grims.
Dr. Wiseman was the first neonatologist in Mobile and one of the founding faculty members at USA College of Medicine, and also founder of the neonatal intensive care unit that bears his name. The Hollis J. Wiseman Award for Excellence in Pediatrics is presented to the student who best exemplified Dr. Wiseman's outstanding scholarship, compassion for patients and families, involvement in the profession and community, and enthusiasm for exploration and steadfast love of family, friends, and colleagues. This year's recipient is Natalie Brooke Carlisle.
The next two awards will be presented by Dr. Errol Crook. The first is the Samuel Eichschild Award.
Dr. Samuel Eichschild is a longtime physician in this community and was a member of the first faculty in this medical school and Department of Medicine. And this award is in his honor, presented to the graduating medical student who, through scholarship, patient care, interaction with family and house staff, and motivation, has demonstrated outstanding achievement in internal medicine. This year's recipient is Mr. Dalton Thomas Patterson. The Ralph Denny Wright and Ann G. Wright Memorial Scholarship is awarded to the senior student focusing on internal medicine or family medicine who strives to become a compassionate physician and skilled diagnostician as exemplified by Dr. Wright. This year's recipient is Mr. Trevor Chalk Stevens.
The Orthopedic Excellence Award will now be presented by Dr. John Marymont.
The Orthopedic Excellence Award is presented to the graduating medical student who best personifies the compassion, selflessness, and tireless work ethics of our previous chairman, Dr. Anderson, McBride, and Meyer. This student has shown excellence above all peers during the orthopedic rotation. This year's recipient is Joseph William Anderson.
The John W. Donald Memorial Award in Surgery will now be presented by Dr. Linda Ding, Assistant Professor in the Department of Surgery.
Good evening. The Department of Surgery each year honors the memory of Dr. John Watson Donald, a distinguished surgeon here in Mobile. Dr. Donald's practice was a superlative example of the art of surgery and served as a role model for students of surgery, past, present, and future. He was committed to the University of South Alabama and its mission, and to the Department of Surgery. His excellence in teaching and enthusiastic support for the educational program of the Department of Surgery will long be remembered. Each year, the graduating medical student who attained the highest grade during the surgical clerkship is awarded the John Watson Donald Memorial Surgical Award. To commemorate the award, the student will receive a certificate and a cash award, hopefully to be used in the purchase of surgical texts, or in this year's case, dermatological atlases. This year's recipient is Christina Aaron Arts.
The H.C. Mullins MD Award will now be presented by Dr. Alan Perkins, Professor and Chair in the Department of Family Medicine.
Dr. H.C. Mullins was a founding chair of the Department of Family Medicine, and this accolade is awarded by the faculty of the Department of Family Medicine to the graduated senior or seniors who demonstrated excellence in the ability to apply principles, practice, and philosophy of family medicine in caring for patients and their families. The award is given in honor of Dr. H.C. Mullins, Professor Emeritus and Founding Chair. This year's recipients are Christelle Dwaron Bowman, and Charlotte Carolyn Cece Linder.
The Obstetrics and Gynecology Award will now be presented by Dr. Nicolette Holliday, Assistant Professor in the Department of OBGYN.
This award is presented to the graduating medical student who, through scholarship, patient care, interaction with faculty and health staff, and motivation, has demonstrated excellence in obstetrics and gynecology. This year's recipient is Kristen Lee Smith.
The Excellence in Emergency Medicine Award will now be presented by Dr. Michael Sternberg, Professor in the Department of Emergency Medicine.
The Excellence in Emergency Medicine Award. This award is presented by the Department of Emergency Medicine to recognize the graduating senior student who demonstrated outstanding performance and academic excellence in emergency medicine. This year's recipient is Connor William Kimbrell. As my chairman got called away at the last minute, I will have the honor of presenting the next award. The next award is the Society for Academic Emergency Medicine Award, which is a national award. This award is sponsored by the Society for Academic Emergency Medicine and is presented on the behalf of SAEM to the graduating medical student who has demonstrated excellence and academic proficiency in emergency medicine And as my chair asked me to note, we are beginning an emergency medicine residency program in Mobile, Alabama in July of this year, and this recipient will be the very first graduate of our medical school to enter the class as an intern, inaugural class. The recipient of this award is Christopher Charles Musselwhite.
The Excellence in Psychiatry Award will be presented by Dr. Bogan Brooks, Assistant Professor in the Department of Psychiatry.
Good evening. There were so many students worthy of winning the Excellence in Psychiatry Award that our selection committee had to pass out some maylocks and secret ballots in order to determine the winner. This award is presented to the graduating medical student who, through scholarship, patient care, motivation, and interaction with faculty and house staff, has demonstrated excellence in psychiatry. Please join me in congratulating this year's recipient, Anna Williams.
The American Academy of Neurology Medical Student Prize for Excellence in Neurology Award is presented to the graduating medical student who exemplifies outstanding scientific achievement and clinical acumen in neurology or neuroscience, and outstanding personal qualities of integrity, compassion, and leadership. This year's recipient is Vivek Hitesh Patel. The next awards are faculty awards, and they will be presented by David Ravita.
All right. So the first award tonight for the faculty is for the Best Pre-Clerkship Educator. And this award goes to a faculty member who showed tremendous appreciation for the students and an endless dedication to our learning, Dr. Almetti. The second award is for the best module during the first 2 years, and this award goes to the respiratory module. All right, our next award goes to the Best Clinical Educator for the 3rd and 4th years, and this award tonight will be given to Dr. T.J. Hunley. The final award tonight will go to the Best M3 Clinical Clerkship, and this year's award goes to Internal Medicine. It will be received on behalf of Cheryl Pesnell and Dr. T.J. Hunley.
Okay, we will now proceed to the hooding of the graduates. For those family members that will be participating in the hooding, as you see your graduate stand and move toward the ramp, would you please walk quickly up here so that you can be standing with them? Okay. All right. So our first graduate is Hala Omar Alsafarjanani, and she is being hooded by her parents and her fiance. Our second graduate will be Siobhan Vipal Amin. And he is being hooded by his parents and his sister. Our next graduate is Joseph William Anderson. He is being hooded by his wife and his parents. Our next graduate is Christina Aaron Orance, and she is being hooded by her father. I will be hooding our next graduate, Calvin Charles Patrick Baker. Our next graduate is Shelby Harper Bissett, and she is being hooded by her parents. Our next graduate is Christelle Dwaron Bowman, and she is being hooded by her husband and her father. Our next graduate is David Ryan Brantner, and he is being hooded by his parents. Our next graduate is Philip George Brennan, and he is going to be hooded by his parents. Our next graduate is James Benjamin Burke III, and he is being hooded by his parents. Our next graduate is Daniel Ray Kales, and he is being hooded by his mother and his son. Our next graduate is Natalie Brooke Carlisle, and she is being hooded by her parents and her sister. Our next graduate is Garrison Michael Carlos, and he is being hooded by his parents. And his sister. Our next graduate is Philip Jefferson Cato, and he is being hooded by his twin brother. Our next graduate is Lauren Marie Chastain, and she is being hooded by her grandfather. Our next graduate is Jemima Ming Chen. She's being hooded by her parents. Our next graduate is Thomas Clayton Coleman. He's being hooded by his parents. Our next graduate is Charles Crawford Cox. He is being hooded by his parents and his grandfather. Our next graduate is Agam Dewan. He's being hooded by his father. Our next graduate is Harrison Powell Dilworth, and he is being hooded by his parents. Our next graduate is William Charles Gambla. He's being hooded by his parents and his brother. Our next graduate is Jonathan Taylor Grammer, and he's being hooded by his parents. Our next graduate is Alexis Ivana Griffin, and she is being hooded by her parents. Our next graduate is Seth Kendall Hill, and he is being hooded by his fiancée. Our next graduate is Chase Lee Hoffman, and he is being hooded by his parents. Our next graduate is Charquincy D. Hollowell. He's being hooded by his mother and his grandmother. Our next graduate is Daniel Brett Jackson. He's being hooded by his parents and his wife. Our next graduate is Laura Elizabeth Johnson. She's being hooded by her parents and her sister. Oh, it looks like more than one sister. No, it's just your parents and one sister. Our next graduate is Jonathan David Jones. He's being hooded by his parents and his son. Our next graduate is Joshua Keith Kay. He's being hooded by his wife. Our next graduate is Connor William Kimbrell, and he is being hooded by his wife. Our next graduate is Alex Koichi, and he's being hooded by, it says his parents, by his parents. Our next graduate is Maylin Law. She's being hooded by her parents. Our next graduate is Christopher Henry Lasecki, and he's being hooded by, looks like, parents and wife. Our next graduate is Peter Youngjun Lee, and he's being hooded by his parents. I don't see your brother. Our next graduate is Robert William Lightfoot. He's being hooded by his parents and his fiancée. Oh, and there's somebody else. And his sister. Next is Charlotte Carolyn Linder, and she's being hooded by her parents. Oh, and somebody else. Oh, and her husband. Our next graduate is Tina Liu, and she's being hooded by her parents. Our next graduate is Forrest Michael Lyon, and he is being hooded by his wife. Our next graduate is Matthew Hobart Mortis. He's being hooded by his parents. Oh, there's somebody else. And brother. Twin brother. Our next graduate is John Emerson Morgan, and he's being hooded by his parents. Next is David Christopher Mulkey. He's being hooded by his parents, his brother, and his fiancée. No brother, just fiancée. Our next graduate is Audrey Marie Murphy, and she's being hooded by her parents. Our next graduate is Christopher Charles Musselwhite. he's being hooded by his son, his wife, and his father. Our next graduate is Peter Clifford Oakes, and he's being hooded by his parents. Our next graduate is Davis Michael O'Brien, and his wife. He's been hooded by his wife. Our next graduate is Mazen Bassam Omar, and he's being hooded by his parents. Our next graduate is Sana Ozair. She's being hooded by her parents, her sister, and her brother-in-law. Our next graduate is William Henry Parker VI, and he is being hooded by his father, who I'm assuming is William Henry Parker V. Nope, it's Aga's dad? Oh, we borrowed it at Karen Braswell. As you can tell, we do some things on the fly. Our next graduate is Vivek Hitesh Patel, and he is being hooded by his parents. Our next graduate is Dalton Thomas Patterson, and he's being hooded by his parents. Our next graduate is Vikash Perninkil. He's being hooded by his parents and his brother. Our next graduate is Anna DeVette Perry, and she's being hooded by her parents. Oh, there's more than that. And brothers, and brothers. Our next graduate is Srihasha Ralapalli, and he's being hooded by his mother and sister. Our next graduate is Fareed Aref Rifai, and he's being hooded by his father. Our next graduate is Andrew Glenn Robinson. He's being hooded by his parents and his wife. Our next graduate is Matthew James Robeson, and he's being hooded by his parents. Our next graduate is John David Revita Jr., and he's being hooded by his wife. Our next graduate is Lydia Lee Sandy, and she is being hooded by her parents. Our next graduate is Kristen Mariah Sankey, and she is being hooded by her parents. Our next graduate is Alan Price Schumann, and he is being hooded by his wife. And now Ashley May Tomkovich will be hooded by her husband. Our next graduate is Ryan David Screven. He is being hooded by his parents and grandfather. Our next graduate is Emily Morgan Smith, and she is being hooded by her parents. And it looks like some other people, and her brother. Our next graduate is Kristen Lee Smith, and she is being hooded by her parents. Our next graduate is Jason Robert Snyder, and he is being hooded by his wife. Our next graduate is Trevor Chalk Stevens, and he is being hooded by his parents and his brother. Our next graduate is Casey Amber Stoughton, and she's being hooded by her husband. Our next graduate is William McKinley Teachy. He's being hooded by his wife and his father. Our next graduate is Alyssa Trin. She is being hooded by her parents and Dr. Sandra Parker. Our next graduate is Alexandra Baxter Van Hannigan. She's being hooded by her parents and her fiancé. Our next graduate is Hilda Antoinette Watkins, and she is being hooded by her parents. Our next graduate is Jonathan David Whitehead. He's being hooded by his wife. I don't see a daughter. Our next graduate is Anna Williams Zampese, and she's being hooded by her parents. Our next graduate is Perrin Fant Wyndham. She's being hooded by her mother, her uncle, and her best friend. Our next graduate is Conray Sean. He is being hooded by his aunt, uncle, cousin. And our next graduate is Amanda Jacqueline Zayak. She is being hooded by her father. We will now proceed with the administration of the military oath. This will be led by Dr. Andrew Bright, Assistant Professor in the Department of Surgery and Lieutenant Commander in the United States Navy, honorably separated.
Good evening. My name is Andrew Bright. Don't these young men and women look great? I remember my commissioning ceremony, and it was not quite up there with marriage, but not too far behind. So it's a big deal for them. You know what the uniforms mean? Very simply, they mean, here I am, send me. These young men and women have said yes to a very tough question. Are you willing to leave your family? Yes. Are you willing to go to hard places? Yes. Are you ready to practice medicine in austere environments? Yes. Be it internal medicine, general surgery, psychiatry, family medicine, the answers are uniformly yes, times 7. They will be asked to shoulder heavy loads of leadership and responsibility very early. Many will deploy. Some may be deployed within 1 year from now, 1 year internship under their belt. They will all find their calling. They will all find out why they said yes if they pay attention and they choose challenges every day. The oath of office is very important. It's the gateway. It sets the date of rank, which follows them throughout their military career. And now the military oath. Officers, please repeat after me, raising your right hand. Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Andrew Robinson,
Having been appointed an officer
having been appointed an officer
in the armed services of the United States,
in the armed services of the United States,
in the grade, state your grade. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend
do solemnly swear that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Ready? 2. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the defenders of your sons and daughters. Now, I could tell some stories, but we can't have people up here crying. So we're going to now conduct the pinning. And if the families would please move into position and conduct the pinning. Some will be changing shoulder boards. Now, if the families, excuse me.
Dr. John Marymont will now administer the Hippocratic Oath. If you would like to follow along, it is actually in your program. Would the students please stand?
The students, please repeat after me. I do solemnly swear by that which I hold most sacred that I will be loyal to the profession of medicine and just and generous to its members, that I will lead my life and practice my art in uprightness and honor, that into whatever house I will enter, it shall be for the good of the sick to the utmost of my power, that holding myself aloof from wrong, from corruption, from the tempting of others to vice, I will exercise my art solely for the cure of my patient, and will give no drug, perform no operation for a criminal purpose, even if solicited, far less suggested, that whatsoever I shall see or hear of the lives of men, which is not fitting to be spoken, I will keep inviolably secret. These things do I promise, and in the proportion as I am faithful to this, my oath, may happiness and good repute be ever mine. In the opposite, if I shall be forsworn. Welcome to the profession, doctors.
Dr. Kelly Robita will now acknowledge the AOA members, the Gold Humanism members, and the scholarship recipients.
We're in the final stretch now. The Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Society is a professional medical organization that recognizes and advocates for excellence in scholarship and the highest ideals in the profession of medicine. The top 25% of a medical school class is eligible for nomination, and up to 16% may be elected based upon leadership, character, community service, and professionalism. The AOA members are recognized at convocation with the wearing of the AOA cords. Would the AOA members please stand so they can be recognized? Thank you. The Gold Humanism Honor Society honors medical students, residents, role model physician teachers, and other exemplars recognized for demonstrated excellence in clinical care, leadership, compassion, and dedication to service. Inspiration for Gold Humanism began in the late 1990s when medical educators and residency program directors expressed the need for a mechanism to identify applicants for internships and residencies who had outstanding clinical and interpersonal skills. Much of the inspiration emanated from the leadership of Dr. Arnold P. Gold, whose vision places people and relationships at the center of every healthcare interaction. The members of the Gold Humanism Honor Society are recognized with double gold cords. Would the student members of Gold Humanism please stand so they can be recognized? Our students are supported by an ever-growing number of scholarships. We are very grateful to all of the individuals and groups who provide these scholarships. In your program, there is a list of all of the scholarships and the recipients. I would like for all the students who have received scholarship funding over the past 4 years to please stand and be recognized. One of the strengths of the College of Medicine is the nurturing environment that is created for these students. This is in part due to an outstanding group of faculty. Each year, the graduating seniors have the opportunity to nominate the faculty that they feel have played a significant role in their education. These faculty are then recognized by the wearing of the red sash. Would those faculty wearing red sashes please stand and be recognized?
The past 4 years have flown by, but I would like for you to go back to freshman orientation one more time and the session when you did the reflective writing. One of those assignments was given back to you at the white coat ceremony. The other is in the smaller white envelope that's in your larger white envelope. The assignment was to answer the question, what are my fears and expectations as I begin my medical education? I think you will find it interesting, maybe even amusing, to see what you wrote and if those fears and expectations were realized. Finally, I'd like to acknowledge the efforts of the staff of the Office of Student Affairs. The event tonight is a result of a tremendous amount of work by these individuals: Karen Braswell, Sharon Bull, Connie Land, Frank Lucas, Kimberly Rich, and Dorothy Howard. Would you please recognize them with a round of applause? This concludes the program. Thanks again for coming. We ask that you please remain in your seats until the faculty and students have completed the recessional, and then please join us for a reception in the area up around the globe.
Thank you.